Hello?
I'm gonna kill you in 7 days.
In 7 days? Is that business days or calendar days?
I don't know, lady. What does it matter?
Well, are you counting holidays? Because Monday's President's Day and everyone at work is taking it off.
I don't care, lady. 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're dead.
Does that count weekends? And welcome back to another episode of Crips and Corks. I'm your host, DJ, and unlike my co-host, I'm not on the Jeffrey Epstein list, along with my co-host.
The saltiest chip at the bottom of the bag. It's your boy, as usual, Paul.
I really threw you under the bus this week.
You did throw me under the bus, and I told you not to tell anyone about the Epstein list, okay?
Sorry.
I saw the waiting job on Craigslist, and I needed some extra cash, and I thought I could scam a few shrimps off the trays, okay?
Yeah, you were going to scam a few shrimps off the tray.
Yeah.
You're allergic to shellfish.
Hey, we gotta make sacrifices for the things we love, everybody.
Well, it's like, have you ever heard of that sushi? Where it's toxic to people and, like, it's venomous and it has to be prepared just right or else it will kill you.
Yes.
It's like that. I can just imagine you with that with shrimp at a party.
I hope one day to have enough confidence to feel like I can make that shrimp myself and not kill myself.
You can eat shrimp and not kill yourself.
Like, make that dangerous shrimp.
Sushi.
Yeah.
The sushi.
I hope to one day be that confident in myself. Because right now, we're not that confident. We're not there yet. Right off the bat, trigger warning, I have fake blood on. I'm a butcher. He's some sort of lesbian.
I'm a Camp Crystal Lake counselor.
Like I said, again, some sort of lesbian.
Except I don't know how to perform.
And you can take that one to the bank. Thanks for watching. I don't know what I'm doing. Anyway.
Paul, what are your blessings and curses for this week?
I think my blessing for this week would have to be boxed wine.
Yes.
Because it always gets me where I need to be at night. And then the curse is the hangover after the boxed wine. Okay.
Interesting.
Because boxed wine do have the worst hangovers. And I know you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Because we've had plenty of boxed wine hangovers.
Yes. I can agree with that.
The type of people that we are. The type of white trash that we are.
Yeah.
Now, this does come out the day after our live show. So if you were there, thank you so much for coming if you went.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed. It's so nice to embarrass my family on stage and for the Podity Theater to allow me to do that.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Allows us to keep coming back even though we keep making absolute fools of ourselves live and in person.
Yes, and if you missed it, come to the next one. The live shows, they're so much fun. You get to meet us, watch it online, do the thing, girl. There'll be more live shows to come. Now, your blessing and curses?
My blessing is Arby's.
Yes.
My curse is you may tell me we can't get Arby's today.
Girl, Lord knows. If you remember last episode, we were talking about that hot ham and cheese sandwich, right? Yes, from the Arby's. It got me wanting Arby's too, because Arby's they got that ham and cheese, but I like the roast beef, and I will be getting the mayo. And if Arby's is out of mayo,
You're gonna commit arson.
Exactly. I will be committing arson, like the guy from Pop Culture Corner in the last episode. How's your? Well, I can't even ask you how your spooky season's going so far because
we're not even really in spooky season because we're recording this in head. Yeah.
Did I say I'm a butcher?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm a butcher.
I'm a baker. And a candlestick maker.
Is that like from something?
Yeah, it's like from a song. The butcher, the baker, da-da-da-da. I don't know.
It sounds like one of your gay-ass Old English.
No, it's not. I swear.
Limericks. Limericks are dumb as shit.
Limericks are
Girl,
hilarious.
If you ever catch me writing a limerick, I'm not in a good place in life.
Let me tell you a limerick.
Okay.
There once was a young girl named Sally who enjoyed an occasional dally. She sat on the lap of a well-endowed chap and cried, "Sir, you're right up my alley."
And Sally was Lindsay Lohan. You're welcome. You're welcome.
I made fun of her last episode. You made fun of her this episode.
Love you, Lindsay. Come on the pod sometime.
If we get... do you know what?
Could you imagine?
If we just keep cyberbullying Lindsay Lohan and eventually she's like, I want to come on the pod.
She's gonna have to come.
She's gonna have to come.
Come hang with the girls. I'll pay for your hotel. I'll put you up in the best La Quinta Pittsburgh has to offer.
Don't you live right down the street from a hotel?
Yeah, but not a La Quinta.
I would just put her up there so we don't have to pay for a car service to get her here.
I'll pay for your La Quinta. I'll pay for
you
your
also
Best
going to pay for the
Western.
limousine to get her from the La Quinta to here?
Yes. If Lindsay Lohan comes up on this podcast, I'll go into debt. I'll go into debt for you, Lindsay. I'll ruin my
Lindsay,
credit
the
score.
thing you got to understand is we have no budget. And when I say we have no budget, it doesn't mean like dress or spare no expense. It means the budget is $0.
Yes.
We're spending our own money.
And you will be drinking cheap wine with us. And I may or may not continue to bully you on camera. But don't worry, off camera, I will still bully you.
I will not bully you on camera if you bring Jamie Lee Curtis.
Ooh. Yes. If you bring Jamie Lee Curtis, I won't bully you. Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis, if you come alone, we will continue to bully Lindsay.
Exactly.
And by we, I mean Paul.
And that's a promise I'm willing to make.
Anyways, tell me about pop culture.
So this doesn't really have to do with current events, but I was pondering this week about 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh my god, okay.
How someone brought up a very interesting point about that movie, as it's only like cool and hot since he's rich. Where if he was poor and like homeless, if he was like stalking her and doing all those things that he was doing in that movie, it wouldn't be the same movie. It would be a horror movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's only hot because he has money.
Do you know what I love?
What?
On TikTok, when people take like comedies and they turn them into horror trailers.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Or like they'll take a Disney cartoon and they turn it into like a trailer for a horror movie.
I haven't seen that, but I'm gonna have to look that up. That sounds interesting.
Oh, it's hilarious because like they'll take like Elf,
Mm-hmm.
like the Christmas movie with Will Ferrell, and it's like like it's a horror film, and it's like, hello, Buddy the Elf, what's your favorite color?
Tear. Now, do you have any thoughts about the 50 Shades of Grey?
No,
Rich
I
versus
can
poor?
actually see that.
Yeah, because if he was poor, because like the only thing that was cute about it is
But
he could take her to rich
I can see
things.
that, but also on the flip side, I think it's also one of those things where it's something that some people fantasize. And I mean, we talk about this in like our own dating life all the time. Like, oh my god, I want a man who's obsessed with me, and like da 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 da.
Yeah.
But then you get like a person who like I've had a man who like would not take no for an answer, and like I'd ignore him for weeks, and like every day, 3 times a day, he would send me like hi, 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 hi.
How is your dad? My dad's just like obsessed with me. He won't stop texting.
I know. And then like he would send like come over, like it was, and like he had money, but like it came to a point where it's like this is kind of creepy.
Yeah, it does get a point where it's too much. Yeah, and I think that movie did glorify that in a little way. But that's a deeper conversation to be had for another time. We do have a piece of current events. At this point, Taylor Swift's new album has come out once this releases. We've gone to the movie theater because remember when I said Taylor says jump, I said how much, and we did go see that movie at this point after this has came out.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited to tell you guys about it, and I'm super excited to listen to it. Now, low key, do I think the album's gonna be a little bit of a flop? Probably. So we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's fine. Taylor's just joining you in your own flop era.
Yes, we are in our flop era. Because last episode I could not speak, but this episode I promise you guys, I can pronounce things.
Don't overpromise.
Right.
We've just started.
My illiterate ass.
Anyhow.
Speaking of illiteracy, would you like to drink?
Yes.
Cool.
You want me to read this bottle too?
I think I'll be fine on this one. And I know we've done 19 crimes before.
So many times.
But it's just too on the nose. I couldn't not for this episode, okay? And I did get the 19 crimes dark red. Kind of like the color of blood, if you will. Okay.
I thought it was red, but then I realized it was maroon because it was darker.
Now, I'm looking at the back of this, and I'm realizing it's the same description as all the other bottles of wine. So if you're that curious about the description of this bottle of the wine, go watch one of our previous episodes that we drunk it on. It's the same bottle, it's just talking about Australia and shit, okay? They were convicts in Australia and blah, blah, blah.
Penal colonies.
We get the point, okay? The most important thing is, and spoiler alert, you all know this is Ed Gein Part 2. The guy on the front of the bottle kind of looks like Ed Gein as well.
A little bit.
Yes. So
I had this, while you were holding it like this with the nozzle towards me, I had this insane, I kind of get it for Philip. I just wanted to rip the wine condom off.
Yes, take off the wine condom. Set her free. Let the wine bottle raw dog it.
We're just going to vamp a little bit while I get this off.
Do you like horsey sauce from Arby's?
No.
What exactly? Is it horseradish?
I think it is like horseradish.
See, I don't know how I feel about horseradish. I think I've had it before, but I'm not sure. And now, I'm not sure if it's made from actual horses, and I imagine if it was made from actual horses, it would be like the glue from the horses, like hooves. And I would
no, they use the hooves to make Jell-O. I'm getting scissors.
But yeah, so comment down below. Do you think the horsey sauce is like made from actual horses, or maybe it's like seahorses? There is this like Japanese or Asian thing where it's like they eat dried seahorses. There was an episode of The Office about that actually, where I think it was Andy ate some of the dry seahorse and he got super sick. And I imagine that's probably how I would feel if I ate horsey sauce from the Arby's. Now, I will say, my favorite thing from the Arby's is the curly fries, right? Y'all need to get yourselves up in the curly fries. Oh, and the mozzarella sticks. And also, sometimes Arby's does have that gourmet milkshake. And their gourmet milkshakes are pretty good. Definitely would recommend. And sometimes they do partner with Ghirardelli. So, good on you, Arby's. That's a good, like, partnership with the... Excuse you.
Sorry.
I'm telling the kids the good word of Arby's.
I know, but that bottle pissed me the fuck off.
I think I went on a date who was like a regional manager of Arby's.
Really?
He was nice. It was a long time ago.
I'm surprised you didn't lock that shit down.
He was like weird. Not that attractive. He was a top.
What is with you in attracting fellow tops?
I know. There's something about me that just like screams bottom.
It's because you're, you say blue-eyed soft top, but it just means that you're a feminine top.
Yeah, I'm a femme fatale.
I call that a blouse.
Asthma per number uno.
Oof. That's potent.
Like George's festering seed.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers.
Okay. It's not terrible. It's not great.
3 grapes. It's average. A very average wine.
Yeah.
And for the price point...
I'll give it 3.
Yeah, 3 grapes. It's a $10 bottle of wine. Yeah, if you're going to a friend's house for like a good old girls' night, spend the $10, get that. It's an average bottle of wine. And if you're with your girls...
And it has a fancy label. They'll think you're impressive.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, worth the $10. Pretty good bottle of wine. Get into it. Nothing crazy, nothing special.
Okay.
All right.
I don't have anything else to say about it.
Me either, and that's how you know it's an average bottle of wine. Neither of us have anything to say about it. But DJ, do you want to continue our story?
Sure. Why not?
All right.
What else am I doing?
Let's get into it, because today we are continuing the story of the monster himself. The psycho himself, the man who inspired pop culture icons in horror. And today we are going to be entering his home, the original house of horrors that shook America, and the trial that rocked a nation, as we continue our journey with Ed Gein.
Wait. What? I thought you were covering January 6th. Fuck.
Oh my god. I gotta get different notes out now.
Why else would I wear all this mag... Oh, wait. I'm not wearing Maggie gear. Okay, maybe I did know. That wasn't a funny joke. It was a lot funnier in my head.
Who's Maggie? You said Maggie.
Oh, I meant MAGA.
Oh, Mag. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
It was funnier in my head. I apologize.
It's okay. We'll get them next time. So, when we left off, the police had just discovered the butchered body of a person whom, spoiler alert, they would later discover to be Bernice Worden.
Oh, so he made quick work of her.
He did. He took her right home, got the head right off, and butchered her.
Yeah.
But we'll come to know he had plenty of practice butchering bodies.
He had practice beating the meat.
So, upon finding the butchered body, the police obviously called for backup and began the exploration of Ed Gein's House of Horrors. Upon entering the main house with their flashlights, see, the house had no electric, so it was very dark, and he had dark curtains on the windows, so it was a very dark home. They quickly realized the place was in shambles. There was heaps of trash everywhere, food scraps, old newspapers. There were a lot of pork and bean cans, because that's the only thing Ed would eat. Basically, he wouldn't even waste a bowl. He would just put the can on the stove and eat the pork and beans right out of the can. There were
what you're telling me is cans. He was one of those hoarders like I see on TLC.
Very that. And before we continue, again, trigger warning. This is probably the most gruesome thing we have covered yet on Crips and Quirks. This is the darkest episode yet, and we will be describing violent acts. I don't even know how to describe it. It's not necrophilia, but the dismantling of dead bodies in deep, deep detail. So if any of that bothers you, click away now. And while I'm thinking about it too, I keep meaning to bring up the Ed Gein Monsters special that's coming out on Netflix, and how excited I am to watch it. And I know I'm giving you anticipation of what's to come, but I am super excited to watch that. So if you've already watched it at this point, comment down below what you thought of it and how it compares to the actual story, because I am super excited to see how the Netflix version compares to the actual story and what actually happened. But let's continue our journey into Ed Gein's home. The officers would also find coffee cans full of chewing gum, wash basins full of sand, old dentures that were put on display, and so much garbage.
Why was there sand in the wash basins?
Honestly, couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I mean, there's really no logic in Ed Gein's brain.
Okay.
Like, with most horror, even just
I didn't know if it was because, like, it absorbed the blood and I don't know.
Maybe.
And like it was easier to like throw out.
There wasn't really an explanation for the wash basin full of sand.
Cool.
And to no surprise, it really did surprise the officers that someone could live amongst such squalor. And they quickly did find where Ed Gein was sleeping. They found his mattress and everything. And by his mattress were stacks of books. Because remember how I told you?
He was an avid reader.
Yes. And this is, at this point in time when he was alone in the home, that's where he got into his dark readings. Where he would read about cannibals and dark true crime and about that German officer who would oversee the killing of many Jews, and like she would cut off body parts of the Jews and keep them. And this was something Ed Gein would identify with, right? So, upon entering the kitchen as well, one of the officers found a weird-looking soup bowl. And upon further inspection, he realized it was the sawed-off head of a human skull. He was eating pork and beans out of human skulls at some points. When he wasn't just eating it straight out of the can, he was putting it in human skulls. The officers would later find more human skulls, including 2 that were put on Eddie's bedposts as sort of a macabre decoration, if you will. Which, low-key, it's kind of badass having real, like, human skulls on your bedposts. Low-key, it's kind of badass. If it wasn't so disturbing. They also found a funny-looking chair. And upon further and closer inspection, they realized the chair's fabric was replaced with human skin, and the underside was stuffed with human fat. They would find 4 more chairs like this. Could you imagine sitting on a human
No, it's going to be gross
chair?
and squishy, and it's going to smell.
In a weird way, it's kind of like getting a hug.
No, it's not, Paul. Oh my god. Oh.
But the chairs weren't the only things Eddie was making out of skin. He also had a skin lampshade, a human skin sheath that he would put his hunting knife in, bracelets, and a waste basket made of human skin. And this is where I would like to take a moment. And I've prepared a little skit for you.
No.
A little skit I've entitled Ed Gein QVC.
I do not consent.
Too late. We're doing Ed Gein QVC. Well, hey there, all you ghouls and gals. My name's Linda, and I'm here with Ed Gein QVC. And first up today on QVC, we have this nice human skin lampshade. Now, this lampshade comes from Linda. Linda died of jaundice, and that gave her the perfect yellow-tinted skin. And this yellow-tinted lampshade is perfect for when Carl, your husband, comes home from the trash heap, from the trash junkyard he's working at, and gives that nice glow for your intimate time. Yes, Linda suffered from jaundice, so you and Carl could have your nice, fun, intimate time. Only $32.95. Shipping and handling not included. Order now. And what will you be purchasing from Ed Gein QVC?
Nothing. Not a zip.
Wow. Fake. How can you even call yourself a paranormal podcaster if you're not purchasing from Ed Gein QVC?
Well, right now you're not a paranormal podcaster. You're a true crime podcaster. Wear the right hat, bitch.
I can be both at the same time. I'm versatile, unlike your bitch ass.
You wouldn't date a regional manager of Arby's because he was a top. Why couldn't you give him the sweet that he desired for all the roast beef you could have in your life? You fumbled it.
Okay, you got me there. Okay, you got me there.
All he wanted there was his own curly fry.
Oh, I love a curly fry. Okay, let's keep moving. Okay. The investigators would also find a box of 9 vulvas.
Oh.
Some covered in oil and salted, and one was painted in silver. And all this was done in an effort to try and preserve the vulvas that he would cut off.
He's making his own pocket pussies.
He was making his own.
I'm not even saying it as a joke. I'm saying it in horror. Like, I'm horrified. I'm genuinely horrified.
It is horrifying. What else is horrifying is the box of noses.
No.
And an oak can filled with brain matter they would also find.
See, you're not bringing up one of the thing that always makes my skin crawl.
Oh, we're gonna get there, don't worry.
Okay.
They found a lot of things in Ed Gein's home. But perhaps most disturbing of all were the things discovered by the police that were unmistakably meant to be worn. For instance, his mask collection made of human faces. Ed would
But how did he do it without the noses? If he had the noses in a can.
Those were different bodies, DJ.
Oh.
Get it fucking together, okay?
Oh.
You better lock in for this shit, okay? We're
So
not doing none of these.
So many bodies. Shit.
Yes, okay.
Okay.
And he would painstakingly remove the skin from the skulls of actual humans. And some were wearing faces, and some were show faces. See, he would stuff the show faces with a newspaper and hang them up like decorations. Side note, they would also find Bernice's head soon after in a bag. And what he did is he put nails in her ears and tied twine to it. So Bernice was going to be a show face. He was going to hang her up on the walls, you see. Now his wearing faces, to go with the wearing faces, Ed Gein really did like his wearing faces because some had lipstick on them, and he made sure to keep the hair so he would have a nice head of hair when he would put the faces on. And to accompany that, he also had what you might refer to as leggings of sorts. Human skin, like the skin of a human leg, basically, he would put on and wear as leggings. And don't worry, he would also wear some of the vulvas. He would put on underwear and put the vulva in there. And he had what the police would later refer to as the mammary vest, which is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, the chest of a human woman he would strap to himself, breasts and all. He basically had a full body suit of human skin that he would wear and dance around, and sometimes he would bang on a drum and dance outside. I imagine the drum might have been made of human skin as well. Sometimes he would just prance around his house in his flesh suit. It's honestly pretty disturbing. Like, could you imagine walking in on that? That would probably be the most horrifying sight to see.
I kind of want to lay down on the floor. I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
Could you imagine even imagining what it would feel like to have, like, a human skin suit
I don't
on?
know. Stop. I don't want to know.
Oh, it'd probably be oily, too.
No.
From the oil he was using to try and preserve it. Do you think he licked the salt off the lips of that other human when he put it on? He did put lipstick on the lips of the other human.
Keep going. I can't escape this.
I know I'm laughing right now, y'all, but I have been so entrenched in this content for weeks that
Paul,
I
after
am desensitized to this
I
story.
think maybe in November we just do a month of my episodes. Maybe we go through to New Year's.
Are you getting nervous that I'm gonna Gien you? I'm gonna skin you alive and wear your face?
I'm not worried you've hit that point yet. I'm trying to stop you from getting that point because we were talking about like a nice light rom-com and you said like it didn't have enough blood and guts.
Are you referring to 2 weeks ago when we did Kitsune?
No, I'm referring to when we were talking about that book we read for book club.
Oh, I didn't say that about that book.
You were like, it's just not dark enough for me.
That's true. My brain's kind of rotted at this point.
So I think I think maybe I'll take over research for like, after this, for like 2 months, give you a mental reset.
I'm only allowed to watch videos of puppies.
Yeah, and
And
kittens.
Sean Cody.
Southern
actors.
Frugal Mama.
Southern Frugal Mama. And you know what? Shout out to Southern Frugal Mama. And what do y'all know about Southern Frugal Mama?
Because, like, I can take this stuff in and it, like, horrifies me, but it doesn't affect my sunny outlook. You are, like, starting to, like, change before my eyes.
I'm not changing.
You used to be the most positive, upbeat, hippie person I know. And now you're just like, it's not dark enough for me. I need blood. I need guts. Where is it? Where?
Bring me the gore. I am the Prince of Darkness, and I rule over the Hardys.
I'm willing to let you have spooky season, but after that, it's nothing but the Santa Claus 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Well, this is my last episode for October, so...
I know.
Cries. The rest is yours.
I think maybe in November, I'm going to suggest to you that you pick a nice, light, and fluffy cryptid.
I can do that. We'll see what happens. We'll see. Now, upon looking through all these masks we were just talking about, there was a paper bag. And when the officer opened it, he thought it was full of hair. But when he tugged on the hair, he realized there was a head attached.
Oh.
And when he pulled it out, he recognized who that head belonged to immediately.
Lindsay Lohan.
No. It was the head of Mary Hogan, a divorced 51-year-old tavern owner who had disappeared from her tavern years before. Similar to Miss Warden, Eddie would hang around the tavern and talk with Mary Hogan, who thought she was just being nice to an old, lonely bachelor. Then one night, when Eddie was finally alone with Mary Hogan, he did the deed, and she would become one of his play corpses. But let's get back to Ed Gein's wearing items. They would also find a belt made of nipples.
Oh.
Which I think is weird. I don't really like
No.
the nipple belt.
No,
Really
that's
my
the thing that makes my skin crawl. Nipple belt, no.
Next. Well, actually, no. One thing I do want to talk about real quick. As we've talked about so far, as you've probably noticed, all the corpses are of women, and he's dressing up as a woman, right? There are theories that Eddie was transgender, and Eddie himself would say how much he did want to be a woman and things. So this might have been, I will say might have been, not was, because I'm just theorizing here. Maybe one of the only ways he could fully express himself, as dark as it might be, and I mean, live who he truly wanted to be, because I do slightly think that Eddie did want to transition and be a woman, and this was, as macabre as it is,
His way of achieving it.
yeah, and getting to live that.
Which, I mean, I think if he hadn't been caught, I think it would have eventually evolved to him trying to cut his own genitalia off.
I could see it evolving into that.
And stitching one of these vulvas onto himself.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. And we'll discuss this more later, but I do just want to point that out at this point, how it does very much seem like he wants to be a woman in the transgender aspect of it. Now, again, I will also put this out there right now that trans people are not monsters. This person, as you can tell,
this is a person
very
who went
sick.
This is a sick person who went through unspeakable trauma growing up.
Yes.
For the majority of their life.
And I think he was probably born with unspeakable brain trauma, or something was wrong with him when he was born. Because I don't think the religious stuff alone, like what Augusta put him through alone, could have done this. That's my own theories. We'll talk more about it at the end. But
yeah, okay.
And quick side note before I continue, I am low-key a little nervous about Netflix portraying him as being like very trans. And also, like, a lot of documentaries about Ed Gein.
It could all... I'll get into this at the end. Keep going.
Yeah, a lot of documentaries about Ed Gein talk about him, like, wanting to be a woman and, like, the transgender aspect of it all.
But I'm just wondering if it wasn't transgenderism as a fact, or that his mother just, like, instilled in him that women, like...
Well, it's weird because, like...
Women are whores, but also he, like, a way of him trying to emulate his mother.
Oh, yes.
That he's trying to, like, become her in a way, and, I think, like, even though women were whores, I think maybe, like, his father, like, his, like, the torture, like, the emotional torment that his parents put him through, like, led him to be like, well, I don't want to be like my father at all, so I have to be a woman to not be like him anymore. So I'm not and I'm just saying this because I've never heard him say, like, I am a woman. I want to be... I mean, maybe I'm parsing facts here, but I want to be a woman is different from I am a woman. And so I don't think it's transgenderism itself, but rather...
some crazy reverence.
Yeah, a reverence, like trying to become his mother, trying to be unlike his father. Or maybe just, like, his mother saying, like, you're so, like, wicked and you're so terrible, da da da. Like, he feels this kinship with the women that his mother describes as whores and such. And that he sort of gets in, like, he's trying to make himself into be a woman because it's like, well, I'm so wicked, then I must be a woman.
Oh.
So far more nuanced psychologically.
Yes.
I don't know. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just spinning out here.
Next, the police would discover doors that had been boarded up.
No.
And based on the other horrors they discovered, they were prepared to discover what they thought would be the worst of it all. Prepared to see the most heinous atrocities humankind can imagine. They broke down the door, and to their absolute shock, they found rooms that were neat and tidy. It became clear that these rooms had not been entered in years, and the rooms were full of women's clothes and items.
They were Augusta's rooms.
Exactly. They were his mother's rooms. He had boarded these rooms up as sort of a shrine to Augusta, but also in a weird way. So, in some weird way, his mother wouldn't see the atrocities he was committing on the other side. Kind of like keeping the two things separate. His mother was locked away in the one room, and he was free to live.
No, Ed Gein wasn't the one who dug his mother's corpse up and brought her back in the house, right?
No, okay. There was no evidence, but we'll get to the digging up later, okay? We don't want to spoil things too quick.
Okay, I know there was somebody who, like, dug somebody's body up and brought them back in the house.
Not his mother's body, but
okay.
Now, media had caught wind something was going down at the Gien farm and started to swarm. See, Miss Warden's murder was already out there, and I imagine Bernice's son was telling people it was Ed Gein, right? So these connections are being made by the media of this murder at the hardware store, and then the police just swarming Ed Gein's farm. And I think the news media had an inkling.
Could you imagine if this happened today?
Oh.
Could you imagine the horrific things that would be...
I mean... it's almost kind of worse it happened back in the day.
But in today's 24 hour news cycle, like, could you imagine just the live streams of them bringing terrible things out?
I mean...
and, like, the zooms, like, what is this? And then having to, like, zoom out because it's too horrifying to show on TV.
Honestly, I think it would be less horrifying if it happened today. Because, like, back then, like you said, today we live in the 24-hour news cycle where this would have been news for, like, 3 days and then we would have moved on to the next thing. Whereas back in the day, this, like, was the story.
Yes.
And
I'm saying visually horrifying because everyone would see it.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, while I was researching this, and we're getting ahead of ourselves again.
I'm sorry. You tell your story the way you want to tell it.
Okay. So, the police needed answers from Gien. The police thought they had a bunch of murders on their hands. See, they found all these dead bodies, and obviously their brains jumped straight to murder, which my brain probably would have jumped straight to murder as well. Now, Gien's questioning would begin, and at first, Gien didn't admit to anything, but with a little coaxing and some apple pie with a cheese slice on it,
Oh my god.
Eddie came clean. That's true. He wanted apple pie with a slice of American cheese on it, which I think is disgusting.
That is disgusting.
But I think that is an actual Midwestern thing. If you're from the Midwest, comment down below if that's like an actual thing. But that's what Eddie
I've
liked,
heard
apparently.
of like apple pie with like heavy cream on top.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like it's not just heavy cream that you buy in the store, but it's like whipped a little bit so it's a little thicker. And it's like whipped with sugar, so it's almost like whipped cream before it's whipped.
Okay. Now, would that be enough to get you to admit to atrocities and crimes?
No, because I mean, maybe I'm not a murderer, so
Now, what food would get you to admit to those things besides Arby's?
if I was a murderer,
Yeah.
this is really hard because my Catholic guilt, because like there's times where like, okay, so I never had this phase like growing up, like when I was a kid or a teenager, but like when I was an adult, I was in the 20s and like we started drinking, going out, there have been times where like we're in a sheets
Mm-hmm.
and I think I could steal this pack of gum. Like I could steal this pack of gum and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But like my Catholic guilt keeps me from doing it.
Oh. Didn't keep you from stealing that bottle of ketchup from that restaurant. Yeah, honestly.
Okay, so what is it gonna take to get me to admit that I stole that bottle of ketchup from that restaurant?
What food? What food is it taking? Is it...
I don't know. If a police officer looked at me funny, I think I would just crack. I'm a weak, weak boy.
Yeah, I don't doubt that about you.
I'm a weak, weak boy. I mean, I've only been pulled over twice in my life, and both times I started crying.
Yeah, you are a crier. I think you're about to cry right now, honestly. You kind of look like it.
I'm pretty disgusted by everything that's going on. I knew aspects of the story. I forgot how horrifying it was.
Yeah, it's pretty horrifying, especially when you, like, picture him, like, dressed up in that skin suit.
Stop.
It's pretty
Please.
crazy. Do you think he, like...
I'm gonna put my head between my knees for a little bit.
One thing I forgot to tell you about, too, is a window he had, and he put lips on the blinds. So when he would open and close the blinds, it was like the lips were opening. Isn't that kind of funny, guys? It's kind of like a fucked up Blue's Clues type of thing. Okay, back to his questioning. Now, they started questioning him about Bernice Warden and Mary Hogan, right? The murders and everything. But he said he didn't remember murdering them, but he must have. He said he was in a daze during the actual murder portions of what happened but he did let the police know that he didn't murder any of the other bodies, that he had actually dug the rest of the bodies up from the grave. He told them he would watch the local obituaries and at night sneak out and dig up the graves and take the bodies to use for his gruesome arts and crafts. Gien said he did not like killing, but just wanted the bodies.
You know, I wish this was the week that I talked about like how much I hate arts and crafts.
T, that would have been good. Now, Gien told them he went out almost 40 times to the graveyards, but he would chicken out most times. See, that he would feel guilty a lot of the times and go back home and stop himself. But there was definitely times when he didn't feel as guilty and would proceed to dig up those bodies and take them out of their graves. And then he would cover them back up with dirt and leave them in apple pie order, as he would say. And also, sometimes the guilt would get to him afterwards, and he would return some of the body parts that he wasn't using because he didn't want to be a greedy Gus. No, heaven forbid he be a greedy Gus and keep parts he wasn't using of the bodies he would dig up from the graves.
Can we take a time out for a second? Just take a time out. Because, we've hit the point where I can no longer drink my wine.
Really?
My stomach has turned. And so I just need to take a time out. I'm going to take this last bit of the wine. I don't expect you to cut this out. Okay. I'm going to take this last bit of wine like a shot.
Okay.
And then hopefully that gets me through to the fucking end. Because I am wigging out, my dude. I am wigging out. This is disgusting.
You want to know something?
No, hang on. Whoa. Yes.
You want to know something more gruesome? They asked him how he would get the heads off the bodies, and he said he would kind of twist them and go back and forth. Twist them back and forth until they eventually just came off. I'm trying to compare it to how you might a branch that's hard to break off and you have to keep twisting it back and forth until it finally comes off. Yeah, he described doing that.
Okay.
Now, the police did not believe this at all. They were sticking to the murder thing, because think about it, you're a small town policeman. You've never heard of anything like this. Murder, you can understand, but digging up bodies, skinning them, and making skin suits out of their parts and wearing them, and just keeping various parts of their bodies in boxes, and just the gruesomeness of it all was so much harder for them to believe than just murdering people. Right. So they did not believe Ed Gein at first. And also, remember how in last episode we were talking about how small, frail he looked? Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't believe he could dig all the way down to a grave that quick without anyone noticing. Yeah, because that's
6 feet.
That's what the police thought, too. It was 6 feet. And later, we'll get into it, though. They thought it was 6 feet, but other things did occur when they would investigate this later. So obviously, they're not believing Ed Gein. They're thinking it's murder. They're thinking he killed all these people. And if you think about this time period, there's really no DNA evidence, right? The crime labs are doing the best they can to identify who these people are. Of course, yes, Miss Warden and Mary Hogan's bodies were super easy to verify who they were, but the rest of the bodies, he had already cut up, chopped up, made into suits and all sorts of things. So identifying these other bodies it was proving to be truly challenging. And also, one thing to think about too is this is a very small town police force who's not used to dealing with something of this magnitude. They're used to the teenager robbed the candy store, he stole something, yeah. Or Bob beat up his whoever again, and just small shit like that, or even just so-and-so shot so-and-so, not someone dug up 19 people, murdered 2 other people, was wearing their skin. And this small town police force has to deal with this, let alone the cost, because investigating things like this is not free. And sending things to the crime lab, can you imagine all the things they had to send to the crime lab, and they're paying for the salaries, and this apparently the police station is footing the bill, so they're trying desperately to get this case put onto the state or the federal folks so that they no longer have to foot the bill to this. Yeah. Because, they have to analyze skin tears and, evidence and, they're even starting, Eddie would eventually start to confess about, other places on his property or where he would put the bodies, after he was done with them, one main part of this would be the ash pit, where he would like burn some of the bodies he was done with. This all costs a lot of money. So not only is the police force dealing with the financial struggles of this, they are also dealing with a news frenzy. This is the story of a generation, and people are flocking to Plainfield, this small city where no one ever goes. All of a sudden, there are hundreds and thousands of people coming to get a glimpse of the horror house. Because once the story broke and once, like, people fully knew the full magnitude of what was going on, people just fucked. They wanted to see the House of Horrors, and, like, not only were people flocking to the House of Horrors, the media would also start harassing the local townspeople to get, like, answers from people who knew Ed Gein, right? Like, because obviously the police was not letting Ed talk to the media, or the media talk to Ed Gein, and this was the story of the century. So the news folks were desperate to get that story. And as you can imagine, some of these small town folks would like the limelight. For instance, there was one girl who claimed to have dated Ed Gein, and she said she went out with them multiple times and everything. And he seemed completely normal and everything. But then her story blew up, and she started to see the headlines of woman dating monster and things like that. And she quickly started to backtrack, and she started saying, oh, the media just twisted my words and things. So, like, also, there were guys, like, coming out saying, like, oh, I was Ed Gein's best friend, and things like this. And honestly, people were saying all sorts of shit. I mean, people have started making up stories like, oh, Ed Gein would watch me outside of my window. And, oh, one time I was home alone, and I turned around and Ed Gein was there. Just, like, making up stories. And the paranoia got to a fever pitch in Plainfield, right? Because, I mean, people would lock their doors. They wouldn't let their children go anywhere alone. People were having nightmares about Ed Gein. I mean, these small town folks were suddenly talking about topics such as true crime, necrophilia, transgenderism, like things these people probably didn't even know there were words for, were suddenly in their everyday vocabulary, and they were on the world stage. This, it cannot be understated, the magnitude of the impact this story had on Plainfield, the people of Plainfield, and not only Plainfield, like...
Of Wisconsin as a whole, of the U.S.?
Yeah,
I mean...
like, people were horrified. Now...
I'm horrified. There's nothing more I want to do right now than to, like, get out of my chair and, like, go have a lie down on your sofa.
Right.
But I am, like, one of the hosts of this podcast. I can't just abandon it.
And can you even imagine being, like, that police officer and breaking this story and, like, trying to tell people what you found in this home and telling them, like, hey, you live in this town and you recently buried your loved one? Their body might have been used in Ed Gein's morbid arts and crafts. Now, the people of Plainfield, they didn't really believe the digging up of anything, whatnot either. But before I get to that part of the story, I do want to talk about the introduction of dark humor into American culture, because this story really did, like, help introduce dark humor. Mm-hmm. See, the people would start telling jokes, what they would call Geiners, right? These were dark jokes about Ed Gein that people would tell to, like, try and cope with what was going on. And I do have a couple Geiners for you.
Oh, God.
Why did they have to keep the heat on at Ed Gein's house?
Why?
So the furniture wouldn't get goosebumps. Why won't people play cards with Ed Gein?
Why?
Because they are afraid he will come up with a good hand. And I do got one that... This is based off a favorite Christmas tune. that I must read directly from Deviant. Okay. This is something the children of Plainfield, and I imagine all Wisconsin.
Is this a Lizzie Borden type?
Too? It is kind of Lizzie Borden, but it's to the tune of a little Christmas jingle, if you will. 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the shed, all creatures were stirring, even old Ed. The bodies were hung from the rafters above, while Eddie was searching for another new love. He went to Watoma for a Plainfield deal, looking for love, and also a meal. When what to his hungry eye should appear but old Mary Hogan in her new red brassiere. Her eyes how they twinkled ever so gay, and her dimples also merry were they. Her cheeks were like roses when kissed by the sun, and she let out a scream at the sight of Ed's gun. Old Ed pulled the trigger, and Mary fell dead. He took his old axe and cut off her head. He then took his hacksaw and cut her in two, one half for hamburger, the other for stew. And laying a hand aside of her heel, up to the rafters went his next meal. He sprang to his truck, to the graveyard he flew. The hours were short, and much work must he do. He looked for the grave where the fattest one laid, and started in digging with shovel and spade. He shoveled and shoveled and shoveled some more, till finally he reached the old coffin door. He took out a crowbar and pried open the box. He was not only clever, but sly as a fox. As he picked up the body and cut off her head, he could tell by the smell that the old girl was dead. He filled in the grave by the moonlight above, and once more old Ed had found a new love. He let out a yell as he drove out of sight. If I don't get caught, I'll be back tomorrow night. School children were saying that, just to keep in mind. Now, before I keep continuing, do you have any comments, questions, concerns?
No, I just want this over.
Now, remember how I was talking about how the police was desperately trying to get this passed off to the state or like the
federal authorities, yeah.
This was becoming impossible because it quickly came out that the farthest Ed Gein had ever left from Plainfield was Milwaukee. Now, they did try to tie Gien to like other murders outside of Plainfield, but it was obvious that, well, very quickly became obvious that Ed Gein had not murdered anyone outside of Plainfield. So the police's hopes of passing this case on to someone else quickly frizzled out, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, as I said before, the crime labs weren't able to really identify anyone. They weren't believing Ed's story. The only really way to tell if Ed was telling the truth was to dig up one of the graves. And of course, the public did not like that. They did not want the graves of their loved ones dug up.
No.
But the police had to verify, like, the identities of these people. And if Ed had actually dug up and done this to all the people that he said he had. So one day they went to the graveyard and they started digging. And they only had to dig about 4 feet. See, what they didn't realize is most coffins are encased in a cement box. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So
a vault. I think they call it a vault.
A vault. Good word for it. So they dug about 2 to 4 feet and they hit the vault. It really didn't take as much effort as they thought. And when they hit the vault, they discovered it was cracked. And then they opened the concrete vault and discovered that the coffin was open as well. And when they had opened the coffin, the only thing there was Ed's crowbar he had left there from one of his late night excursions, if you will. And with that, they confirmed Ed's stories, that he was not lying about not murdering all those people, that he truly was a ghoul of the night and would watch the obituaries and go to local graveyards, dig up the bodies, and use their parts for his ghoulish pleasures, if you will. Now, there will be a trial, though, because he still did murder Mary Hogan and Bernice, okay? Those women were not already dead. The others might have already been dead, but those weren't. And also, I mean, it's still low-key a crime to dig up people and wear them. Mm-hmm. And so...
desecration of a grave, desecration of a body.
Yes, exactly. So, thus begins the trial. And the main aspect, the main focus of this trial was Ed Gein sane enough to know the difference between right and wrong?
Was he?
Well, he would get checked into a hospital and be examined by a ton of well, not a ton, like 3 or 4 psychologists, but he would go through a battery of tests, and they would discover that Ed was seeing things. Like, at night while he was laying in bed, he would think he would hear his mom calling out to him, telling him to do things. He would see...
schizophrenia.
Yes, exactly. They diagnosed him with schizophrenia. He would see faces in leaves of trees, and he would say when he was out and about on the town, he would smell the smell of rotting flesh, even when he wasn't like at his own home where he might have actually smelt it. He said he could smell it everywhere, and he just had also hallucinations about like birds talking to him and things and looking at him and watching him. He was having a bunch of hallucinations. So they did diagnose him with schizophrenia. But one interesting thing they also discovered is when they were unpacking his relationship with his mother, how they discovered how he looked at his mom like a god. He basically worshipped her, but at the same time, how much he hated her for making him how he was and doing all the things she did to him. It was like so interesting to think how he can love her so much but hate her at the same time, but he didn't even realize he hated her.
That is a thing that comes up, though.
Yes. And this love and hatred for his mother does tie back to the murders of Bernice and Mary Hogan. See, they both resembled his mother, right? Mm-hmm. And to Eddie's thinking, how could these godless women get to continue to live, but his saintly mother died?
Can I just say, I hate it that you keep referring to him as Eddie.
Sorry.
It's okay. I don't know, like, whether, like, it's a thing or whether, like, it's just something that you fell in the pattern of.
It's just a pattern, and honestly, it was more for comedic effect at
yeah,
first,
because I'm just like, oh my god, not Eddie Gein. Oh.
Yes. And also, so that's one theory about why he murdered them. Like, basically, like I said, like, they reminded him of his mother, but these ungodly women got to live, but his God-fearing mother died. And so basically Mary Hogan, why he thought she was ungodly was because she was a tavern owner, and like taverns, alcohol, places of sin. And then Bernice, what she did is she stole a man from another woman, and the woman committed suicide. Now, low-key, I wasn't able to confirm this or not, but I do think that they were married when Bernice took the man. And it wasn't even like, it takes 2 to tango, but Ed saw it as, like, her taking him. And also, like, unpacking the fact, like, he only took women who reminded him of his mother from graves. He only took women from graves, right? Mm-hmm. And the act of defiling this women, so, like, he not only revered women, he not only revered women and wanted to be them, but he defiled them, committed the ultimate act of defiling them and desecrating them. It's this extreme love while also having this extreme hate.
Yeah.
It's insane. And, like, obviously, they declared Ed Gein insane, and he was not fit to stand trial, and they sentenced him to staying in the hospital for the criminally insane. Now, Ed Gein would actually flourish in the hospital. He very much liked it. He would even gain weight because when they found him, he was like skinny, frail, whatever. But he would gain weight in the hospital. He got his 3 square meals a day. He had people looking out for him. He had structure. He enjoyed the little jobs they had him doing.
You hear that a lot with serial killers, is that once they're caught, they flourish in prison because there is a structure that they needed that if they had that in real life, it probably would have prevented them from committing crime. Like they needed some support system, a structured routine.
Yeah, which is interesting to think about, like, as we go on to his, like, later life. Like, could something like that have, like, prevented him from doing all these things, murdering these people and wearing dead corpses? I don't know. Like, maybe. But he very much did end up flourishing so much in the psychiatric hospital that 10 years later, they deemed him fit enough to go back on trial, right? Because at that point, their thinking was, at that point,
so he was 67 now? Roughly.
Yeah. He was really old at this point when, like, they...
Yeah, because he was born in 1906? 1904, 1906? 1906.
1906, yes. Sorry.
So he would have been 61.
Yes. He would go back on trial 10 years later. And the judge, immediately when the judge saw this case was coming back to him, he knew what was going to happen. He was like, this trial's a farce. Like, he's just going to be declared legally insane again. Blah, blah, blah. It's a waste of time. Which it did end up being a waste of time. Spoiler alert. He went back and he was declared insane again at the time of his crimes this time, and he was sent back to live in the psychiatric hospital for the rest of his days. Now, there was a brief moment during this trial where Ed did try to petition to get released, but that obviously was not going to happen, right? Now, you might be asking yourself, what happened to Ed Gein's farm? What happened to the House of Horrors? Well,
I know a little bit.
People were suing Ed Gein, of course, for defiling their family members' corpses and murdering their family members. So Ed Gein did owe a lot of people money after this. So they were going to auction off different parts of his home, different parts of the house.
No.
And obviously...
No.
This made the people of Plainfield very upset. Because now people were profiting off the atrocities. Like, imagine your dead grandmother gets dug up and now they're selling off the different parts of the house she was murdered and everything. And also, they did not like this because the auction was set to take place on Palm Sunday. And these were...
No! You can't have it on Palm Sunday.
Right. These were God-fearing people, so having it on Palm Sunday...
The day our Lord came into Jerusalem. No. It just ain't done.
Yes.
Honey.
The land.
Honey, the land. The land, honey.
Yes.
The land is a lot older.
So they did, and they saw this as an act of defiance against God, really, like having this on Palm Sunday, and then they found out they were going to charge 50 cents a head to tour the house. So they're making a spectacle over this atrocity. So they would take matters into their own hands and burn down Ed Gein's home.
Honestly, good.
But in a kind of ironically, the auction still went on, and they just ended up just selling the things, like the tractor and like the things that were in the outhouses, the barns and things. So they still did have the auction, and it did draw a sizable crowd. And you have to think too, like they still had to like pay off these debts somehow. I mean, Ed's just making $1.50 a week doing his menial job in the psychiatric hospital. Like, he owes a lot of people money, so they had to get the money to the people somehow.
And it was the people whose bodies he dug up.
Yes. And also...
Their families.
Mary Hogan's family, Bernice Warden's family, like reparations.
Yeah, but they're all members of the town, so I feel like if they would have dropped their lawsuits, well, no, because probably whoever would have gone through with the auction anyways.
Why would they have dropped their lawsuits? They want their money, girl.
I know they want their money, but if it's like...
And even if they dropped it, what are they going to do with the house then? Someone else is going to buy it, and it's going to become an even bigger thing.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Quick side note. So the car that Ed Gein had actually put Bernice's body in, they sold the car that day, and they sold it to someone who worked with a traveling circus / carnival. And what he did is he put 2 dummies in the car, one that looked like Ed Gein and one that looked like a woman in the back seat. And they were touring the country showing this car as being like, come see the murder car, come see Ed Gein's murder car and things.
Okay.
They made a lot of money on that, and the people of Plainfield were not happy. Needless to say, they did not...
See, they would have made... They probably could have made more money if they would have sued the people who are doing shit like that.
Probably, maybe. But needless to say, that car, they did not bring that car back to Plainfield because they knew they would be ran out by the people of the town.
Yeah.
Now, Ed Gein would die on July 26th of 1984 at the age of 78 due to respiratory failure from cancer. So... Later, after Gien died, they had to bury his body in secret because there was so much attention around him and stuff. If they knew where he buried they buried the body, they would just dig him up. But there was one local townsperson that said they did see some spotlights in the grave one night after he died. And there was a suspicious-looking piece of ground the next day next to Augusta's grave. So it is believed that Ed Gein was buried unmarked next to Augusta, his mother, which obviously Ed Gein would have wanted. And that's where he stayed. And honestly, going back to the mental hospital thing, I will note a lot of the people in the psychiatric hospital did say Ed Gein was very pleasant, easy to work with, and one of the model inmates at the time.
You hear that from a lot of serial killers.
Would you consider him a serial killer?
I don't know.
Exactly. This is another debate to be had because I don't know if I would consider him a serial killer because at the end of the day, he only did kill 2 people and potentially his brother. That we can prove, and potentially his brother.
That we can prove because, like you said, with not being able to identify bodies, we don't know if he killed more people than he said.
I'm of the opinion that he only killed Mary, Bernice, and potentially his brother. I very much do think the rest of the bodies were just dug up, and he was like watching the obituaries for people who fit the bill of what he was looking for. And he was a monster, and
this truly was our hardest episode to get through.
Yeah, and it's so hard to like put into words how much of an impact this had on pop culture because. The person,
Psycho.
Right. The person.
Silence of the Lambs.
Right. Texas Chainsaw
Massacre.
Really, any slasher film. A lot of them can be traced back to Ed Gein. And this was the first, like, real time, like, many of these topics, like murder, necrophilia, all sorts of grisly topics were brought into the forefront of the American public eye. I cannot state enough how much of an impact this man had on culture, and he was a celebrity at the time too. People were dying, like reporters were dying to get even just like 5 minutes with Ed Gein. He was, maybe there's a special term for like a murder celebrity, but like he was a celebrity. Like, even to his dying day, people were dying to get interviews with him.
Anything else?
What do you think?
I have so many thoughts. Most of them involve vomiting.
Mm-hmm.
The other half involve fainting.
Yes.
This is truly, truly like the roughest episode we've ever had.
Yeah, it's the most...
Thus far.
I mean, he was skinning people and...
Stop! Stop. Jesus. Paul.
Now, at the root of this, I do want to bring a little bit of a different perspective. Yes, he was a monster. Yes, he did horrible things. Yes, he did all these things. But do I compare him to someone like Ted Bundy or someone
who actively
had the hate in their heart was at the forefront? Because I'm not too sure if Ed Gein really had that much hate in his heart. I think he was just a deranged individual who was looking for bodies because most of the bodies he had were bodies he dug up. He was a he was a product person, not a process person, where he didn't enjoy the killing. Mm-hmm. He wanted the killing for the parts.
I don't know. Maybe...
I think at the core of him is a hurt.
I mean, I definitely think, like...
Not to sympathize with a murderer
No,
or whatever,
I'm not sympathize. Maybe I am a little bit, because I think obviously something was wrong with him from the get-go.
Yes.
From the time of birth. But I think that Augusta and George fucked him up to the point where it pushed him over the edge from something's a little wrong to I'm going to do some crazy fucking shit.
Exactly. His upbringing really unlocked the darkness.
Yes. And that's the thing is like when it comes to serial killers, it always comes to is it nature versus nurture. And ultimately, with most serial killers, I think it comes down to nature, whereas it's something that's inside of them because they had like normal upbringings, but like maybe they had a head injury or like some traumatic incident happened in their childhood.
Yeah.
But him, it seems to be that there was that little seed of something different in him, and it was just nurtured to the point because obviously this didn't start happening until his mother died. Like he wasn't going to be able to hide it.
Yeah. I think what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying. It was the perfect storm of nature and nurture.
Nature and nurture fucking him up.
Yes.
Whereas I don't even know. I just want to be done with this episode.
And there's also conversations that are had too of like how he had this like bright up, like he put on this facade for people but had this darkness underneath that no one knew about. So it makes you also feel like, who can you really trust? Because yeah, people thought he was weird or stuff, but they didn't think he was skin suit weird. Like, yeah, he made little... Also, other side note, Mary Hogan. After Mary Hogan had disappeared, he like somehow started making this joke. I think it came up. He was joking around with some of the buddies he was doing an odd job with, and they said something about Mary Hogan and whatnot, and he made a little joke. Oh, Mary Hogan's just at the farmstead right now, huh? And everyone started laughing, and that was the joke he would continue to make, like, oh, Mary's just at the farmstead right now, ha! Because he's all like, it was a joke. Like, to everyone else, it was just a joke, but to him, the joke
was true.
Right, but they thought he was just joking. Like, literally, everyone thought Ed Gein was just this little weird guy, this little weird bachelor, but they didn't know, like, it goes back to, like, you never truly know what lies beneath, like, the darkness, like, under someone's facade they put on for everyday people. It's really interesting. There's so many interesting aspects to this horrifying story. And let us know your thoughts about Ed Gein. What do you think? Did you watch the Netflix Monster series on them? And
it hasn't come out yet, has it?
At this point when this releases.
It will be out.
Yes. So let us know what you think about the Monster series of Ed Gein on Netflix. Do you think they were truly accurate? And I do look to be disappointed by how they portray trans people on that.
We will see. Please like, subscribe, follow wherever you are listening. Connect with us on all of our social medias that are listed below in our description bio thing. Please, if you have personal stories, email us. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me on my personal Instagram and TikTok at Paulember, Paulember.
And you can find me at The Real Teach Powers on TikTok and on Instagram. And until next time, keep your crips tight.
And your corks loose.
Bye. I hated every minute of this episode. This was horrifying.
I guess you could say that was truly psycho.